Hello, everyone. I'm here today with my colleague, Mrs. Sara Salsas Carneiro, to talk a bit about the different options for small business, pensioners, religious people, and others in Portugal, especially the D2 visa, the D7 visa, and the blue card from the European Union. So, starting from with Caio de Correio, sorry, about Caio de Correio. Caio de Correio is a multi-jurisdictional law firm that provides legal services in all areas of the law, being highly recognized by the quality of its services. We practice in areas such as litigation, corporate, MIA, laboral, different areas. We have clients included in both commercial and different companies and in different sectors like the financial sector, the corporate sector, insurance, different types of clients coming from all areas.
As Miguel was telling you, we have different areas. In our case, we are from immigration department. We work with real estate too. Um, we have huge success in obtaining the residence permits and citizenship processes. We have approximately 3,000, I'm sorry, golden visa granted to citizens of different nationalities, and in other kinds of visa, we have a huge success too. We have offices here in Lisbon. It's the main office of Carneiro. We have other two offices in Portugal, in Oporto and Algarve, and we have two offices in Africa, in Luanda and Maputo, and representative offices in La Valeta, Malta, and one permanent lawyer in Beijing.
So, speaking about the D2 and the D7 visas, the D2 visa was a visa created for people that intend to be entrepreneur or work in liberal professions within Portugal. Okay. As for the D7 visa, that is a residence visa specially established for those who want to live in Portugal after retirement or have income from movable assets, real estate, or financial investments. Lately, and due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Portuguese government is also accepting other type of income, like Sara will speak about very soon. As for the benefits of the D2 and the D7 visa, there are several, like the free entry and circulation in the Schengen area, the freedom to live in Portugal and to develop, in case of the D2 or not, a professional activity, especially in the D7, access to education, free healthcare, social security, justice, and courts. Both visas allow family reunification. Okay, you can apply for Portuguese citizenship 5 years after starting the process. Portugal has a really good quality of life. It's a democracy and is a safe country for you to live. And you can apply for the NHR tax program for tax purposes, which is very good as well for foreign people.
As Miguel was telling you, I'm going to talk about D7, and D7 is about passive income, and what can be considered passive income. Basically, the most common are people that are living from rental incomes, pensions for retirees, bank interests, governmental bonds, and most recently in Portugal there was an updating in the regime, and we are now accepting like remote workers who can work from basically everywhere, and if they want, of course, in Portugal. There are a specific regime for religious organizations. It is possible to apply being a religious worker. The religious organization has to be recognized by the Portuguese government, and it has to guarantee the accommodation and pays for all the living expenses of the person who comes to Portugal for this purpose.
Speaking about the D2 visa, there are two different types of options in order for you to apply for the D2 visa. The first one, and which is the more common one, is when you invest operations in Portugal through the constitution or participation in a company. So you can either create your own brand new company here in Portugal. Caio Correio also offers that service, or you can apply by a via of liberal professions, such as a lawyer or any other profession that falls within the scope of liberal professions.
The steps of the process for D2 or D7 are basically the same. Um, First of all, we have to collect the documents to submit them at the Portuguese consulate or embassy. There, you will submit the documents and have an interview at the Portuguese consulate to explain a little bit why you are coming to Portugal. Then they will analyze your process and make the final decision. After that, if you are approved, you must come to Portugal to collect the biometric data for them to issue the authorization. Now, I'm talking a little bit about the EU Blue Card and to whom it can be granted. It's a title of residence that allows the holder to live and perform in Portugal an highly qualified activity. This card has to fulfill some requirements and has to be issued by a national citizen of a third state, not a state in the UE.
So, speaking about the conditions for the blue card grant to be granted, there are several. Okay? So, the first one, you need to be a citizen from one of the third country. You cannot be part of the European Union. The second, you need to have a valid visa of residence in order to live in Portugal. There cannot be any fact related to your name that should stop the visa confessions by the competent authorities. In this case, the immigration office, which is called CEF in Portugal. You need to live in the Portuguese territory. That is kind of obvious. If you are going to work here, you need to live here. You also need to have means of subsistence. You cannot have any criminal record in your birth country that in Portugal translates to more than 1 year without freedom. So in this case, in jail. Your name can also not be identified by the CEF, and you need to show a work contract compatible with the purpose of an highly qualified worker, and the referent work contract cannot be issued by less than a year, and you need to have an annual payment of at least 1.5 times the national net salary. You need to also have either the health insurance or the travel insurance, or be registered under the National Health Service. And last but not least, you also need to be registered in the Social Security in Portugal.
The procedure for the application is to request the blue card in the third state, as Miguel was saying, by the applicant or by their employers. And in the deadline of not higher than 60 days, the applicant will be notified about the decision. Then I'll explain you a little bit of the rights that you can have if you are an holder of this card. You have the work conditions and including the salary and the dismissal rights, as well as the requisites of health and safety at work. You can study and have professional training in terms of the definite requirements of Portuguese legislation. To the applicable provisions, you have to relate it to the social security in Portugal too. You can be able to have the payments of your legal pension, of oldness. You can have access to goods and services and supply goods in Portugal, the support on obtaining a house as well, information, and of course the free access to the all the national territory in Portugal.
So speaking a little bit now about the validity and the renewal of the blue card. The first blue card has a validity of 1 year, and the second and the third will be valid for 2 years. And after the fifth year, you will be able to either apply for citizenship or not. It depends on what you prefer and what's more comfortable with you. The renewal of the blue card must be requested by the applicant up to 13 days before it expires, in order for you to always be valid, to have a valid residency in Portugal.
Regarding the cancellation or refusal of the blue card, it can happen if it was granted based on a false statement or falsified documents or through fraudulent means. Or if there is a proof of serious acts were committed in Portugal or in EU specifically, um, or if there are grounds of public policy, public security, or public health.
Also, as a member and an holder of the blue card, you will have free access to the labor market in Portugal. During the first 2 years, however, the access to the blue card holder is limited to the paid activities which fulfill the blue conditions for the blue card holder. And these conditions are the ones that were valid at the time that they were required by the holder. Okay. And during the first 2 years of legal employment in the national territory, the holder of the blue card shall give an advice in advance to SEF if any changes occur to the contract that he is applying with.
After that, these third country nationals can legally that are legally resident in Portugal can benefit from a long-term resident status if they fulfill all conditions, of course. And these conditions are being legally resident in national territory for an uninterrupted period of 5 years. They have to have a stable and regular source of income and the family members without using the solidarity subsystem, have health insurance, accommodation, and they have to prove the fluency in basic Portuguese.
Last but not least, as a long-term resident status, you will have several rights such as the access to employment and self-employment, the education and vocational training, social protection and assistance during the whole stay in Portugal, access to goods and service, and you can benefit of the possibility in certain conditions to change the place where you work to any other European Union state after 18 months of legal residing in Portugal. So, Sara, I don't know if you want to speak anything else. I don't know.
Yes, Mark made a question a few minutes ago about
Sorry.
D7, I guess. And it's a quite specific situation. You can contact us through our emails, but in a first analysis, I would say you have to prove the link between the two passive incomes sources.
So Neville also made a question, and in what regards to the question made by Neville, I would have to check, okay, your whole application, but as you are already so into the Golden Visa application, it might be better for you to proceed with it all the way into the end, and by the time you are finished with the Golden Visa, you can then apply for the citizenship, and that does not jeopardize at any time the possibility of you incorporating a company in Portugal as well. Sanjeev also made a question right now, and he's asking if there are any restrictions and age restrictions for the D7. No, as long as you are either a passive income beneficiary or have any of the conditions that Sara stated, such as having being a remote worker, you can apply for it as long as you are, of course, above 18. Mark also made a question asking about the timeline for getting either the D2 or the D7 visa. Sara, I don't know if you want to speak about the timeline for the D7.
It can vary, but basically you have to get an appointment. That depends on the country that you are, and so it's very difficult to tell you a specific time because it depends on the schedule of the country where you are applying.
In what regards to the question made by Danny, if getting the D2 or the D7 visa jeopardize application for the NHL, no, you can even combine both. Danny, okay, which is something that the majority of our clients does, because you can benefit from the tax regime, which applies to the foreign people, and it's something really good. What is the average time of what, Mark? Can you please explain? Dominic Van Russell also made a question. You will need to have a visa, but it's a very small visa, a very easier visa, okay, Dominic, than the ones applicable to the foreign citizens. The average time, that will depend a lot based on how much time will you have to wait until you can get the first appointment, okay, at either the Portuguese consulate or the VFS Global, which is the external provider to whom the Portuguese government delegates the competence to do such thing. And you will then have to rely on the immigration office, okay, which in Portugal is called CEF, to get you the appointment, which is the second stage of both the D2 and the D7. So I see that someone else is typing. In regards to the question made by Lawrence, Sara, you want to answer?
Yes, you have to be in Portugal for a specific time in the year. You can have, or you telling 9 months in Portugal. I think you in that case you can apply and your visa won't be cancelled. But I'll clarify it better if you want to contact us by email.
David Dolgen also made a question regarding the minimum investment necessary for establishing a new business. That falls within the D2 visa, okay? And although the company can be created with like €1 social capital, the more recommendable one will be like the social capital to be between 3,000 to 5,000 euros, okay? In order for you to prove to the immigration office that the company will be able to help itself and to have enough money to suffice between the first year, okay, which is like the most tricky year for most of the companies. And then you would have to have, of course, all the costs like setting up a company and everything. But in by the end, it's not a major amount or anything like it. Neville, the current official average annual salary in Portugal is around 750 as of 2022. Because the values go up and down regarding the year, okay? They're currently on a highly trend. So regarding the D7 tax contractors, Sara, do you want to speak about it?
There are no tax consequences specific for D7. This kind of things related to tax, it's more due to
George, the full presentation will be sent to your emails, okay, within this week. So if you missed any part of it, you will be able to watch it from the start. No problems will be arising from it.
Please, if I know it's coming a lot of questions, please send us the questions by email, because it's not possible for us to be here answering those questions now. And by email we can answer specifically to your situation.
Our emails are at the current slide, okay? So should any questions arise, or if you want any further explanation, feel free to drop us an email, okay? And we'll be happy to get in touch with you. I see that someone else is typing. Thank you. We would like to thank you all for being here today. Feel free to, okay, David, can you just get in touch with us, please, then, just for us to have your email? Our emails are down below, okay? Just send us an email and we'll be happy to send you our proposal, okay? Thank you, perfect. So thank you very much. It was a pleasure being here with you today, and we will look forward to maybe working together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Bye.